Hello and welcome to Legalese. My name is Vincent Perryman and I am a local attorney with the law offices of J. Vincent Perryman. Each month, Legalese focuses on a wide range of legal issues and topics. Today's show covers personal injury law. With us is Kevin Graham, a local attorney. Kevin, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Vince.
I know you've been doing personal injury for many years, and there's always a miscommunication, I guess, in the public eye as to they hear personal injury, they think of an attorney chasing an ambulance, but it's broader than that. So what all does personal injury law include?
Well, personal injury involves many different areas. As long as you were injured either physically or emotionally, it could fall as a personal injury. That could be, for example, an on-the-job injury, an injury due to a car wreck, an injury due to a fall at a store, for example, a premises liability type case, a medical malpractice type case. It could be in many different areas that I believe we're going to touch on today for the viewers.
Okay. As far as each one of those areas, I guess the one to start with would be car wrecks, for example. What all goes into, if you have a fender bender, do you have a claim? That sort of.
Well, of course, you would definitely have a claim for your property damage, but of course we're here today about personal injury, and that would depend on if you were injured or not. If you do experience pain, it's very important that you let the officer know, and that and an ambulance comes to the scene. It's important to have your injuries documented. It's also important that you seek medical treatment with a medical provider as quickly as possible, and that will make your claim better.
Now, in all of these different cases, because with the medical malpractice, what do you need to do there to document?
And medical malpractice claims are extremely difficult. They're a lot different than a car wreck type case, which you need to see an attorney as soon as possible. If you were seriously injured, an experienced attorney in Memphis would more likely be willing to look into it if there's enough time. You only have 1 year from date of discovery from your injury in which to prosecute a medical malpractice claim, and you have to have an expert to review it, and have an expert willing to sign an affidavit stating that you have a case. So it's very important in that case. You need to consult with an attorney as soon as possible, Vince.
And then I know that just to go through a couple of the areas there, because when you sort of defined it, we didn't cull out what the different areas of personal injury are. So can you give us what those are?
Yes, there's workers' compensation would be one area. That is when an employee is injured on the job, and that is, you don't have to show negligence, which you don't have to show the fault of another in order to make a claim, as long as you were on or about the business of your employer and you were not engaged in any intentional misconduct or under the influence of drugs or alcohol. So workers' compensation is one area that many lawyers in the Memphis area practice, and it's different. It's a lot more creature of state statutes, so to speak. And another area would be, of course, we've already talked about car wrecks is an area probably every attorney in Memphis that practices personal injury will handle a car wreck, and we do not get our cases by chasing ambulances. We are strictly regulated by the state board, and we cannot directly solicit the client. So we get our cases based on our experience and our reputation in the community. But an injury in a car wreck is fairly simple. You can be 1, 2, 3, or 4 or more vehicles, and it causes an injury, and you may have a claim against one or more parties. There's also a thing called premises liability, which in layman's term would be usually a slip and fall, but not always. That's where you're injured on the property of another, whether it be a business owner, whether it be a governmental entity, or whether it be a landowner. You're injured on their property, and you have to show that they were negligent, that they were at fault. It's not enough that you just fall there. You actually have to show that they did something wrong, and that they had notice of the problem, and they should have had time to correct it. Those cases are extremely difficult. In premises liability cases, less attorneys will take those cases, but if you're injured seriously, you should seek an attorney as soon as possible in those cases, and one that is willing to handle those type of cases. Attorneys it's very important that if you fall in a premises liability case, that for example, if you're injured at a Walmart and you fall on a banana peel, it's very important that you, even though you may be hurt, that if anyone saw you fall, it's very important that you get the names, addresses, and phone numbers of the people that saw you fall. If anyone from the store comes up and talks to you about how the banana got there, or the banana peel got there, it's important that you get their names, even if it's off their name tag, that you try to document that. If you have access to a way to take a picture, always take pictures. In those cases, the premises liability cases, I'm going a little bit on this more than the other topics, but the premises liability cases it's very important that you get as much information at the beginning. And for example, if you're injured at a store, a business of some kind, you need to make sure an incident report is filed and that someone in the store management is notified or the business management is notified as soon as possible. And then seek an attorney as soon as possible, because you do not want to be giving, normally what happens after a couple of weeks, you get a contact from an insurance adjuster for the business, whether it be by phone or by correspondence, and they want to take a recorded statement of you. And it's very important that if you're seriously hurt, that you consult with an attorney before you give any type of recorded statement to any representative of a business. So that's personal injury. And there's an offshoot, going back to medical malpractice, there's an offshoot, we already discussed that briefly, but there's also another offshoot called nursing home negligence or nursing home abuse, and that's when usually an elderly person is mistreated in a nursing home, and that is an offshoot of medical malpractice. It's not. There's debate about whether or not that falls under medical malpractice, and I don't have time to get into the debate, but there's an ongoing debate as whether or not that should fall under medical malpractice. At this point, you may not have to have a medical expert, but it's important that it's very important that that if you have a loved one that's in a nursing home, that you visit them regularly and you look for signs of mistreatment, such as bed sores, things of that nature. If a change in weight, appearance. Something, or if they appear to be somewhat frightened, or if their emotional behaviors change, it's important to look for those signs. You need to regularly visit your loved one in the nursing home. You can't just assume they're going to get good care at a nursing home, unfortunately. Most nursing homes are great, but if you're active, you can pick up on nursing home abuse, hopefully quickly enough to where you won't have to have a lawyer and to pursue a claim. And another area of I'm sorry.
Well, we need to go to a break right now, so when we return, we'll continue our discussion about injury law. Please stay with us.